All right. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be hitting a full upper body session, which is pretty damn epic. Something a little bit different you guys wouldn't have seen before. We're going to be hitting some delts, and we're going into some chest and back, and then we'll do some triceps and biceps as well. So it's a little bit of a different one. Today I'm training with my three amigos. So it is myself, we've got Ali Pade, and we've got Kayla. So what we're doing over here is, and I don't know if you guys still remember, I told you a little bit about my slight shoulder injury before, and yeah, today was a bit of a game changer because I had to really test it on delts. So I couldn't go too high to start with my weights. I just tried to keep it quite average to start with, and I was going for about 15 rep range over here to get a nice start. Obviously, Kay and Pade kind of adjusted their reps a little bit to change it and suit them. I needed a very big warm up to make sure my shoulder is fine before I proceeded to anything. So here's Pade's set as well. Getting that nice pressing. Now you can kind of see his hand is quite inverted here. It's actually a great way to press and also have a little bit more strength with your wrists slightly inverted. So I actually use that technique with my bench press and the barbell to invert my wrist a bit and actually get my palm a little bit more activated. So here's me going up in weight slightly over here. I've got 25 kilos. Again, my forming technique is my priority, but I'm also focused on making sure that I can feel every single muscle, my range of motion. And when you have a bit of a shoulder injury, you start to think about every single little thing. So making sure my core is nice and braced and there's no movement whatsoever. So Kay takes the set. So she wasn't doing too lightweight, like not very far off from what I was doing before anyway. And 15 kilos is pretty strong for a female as well too. So I think she's pretty good. She's doing amazing for this set. Warming in. She's not doing 12 to 15 reps like I did. I went for high reps. She's going for a much shorter rep range as well. And so is Paddy over here. So he's gone up to 20 kilos. Now, when it comes to training upper body as well, I'm going to throw out some tips in this video. So I want you guys to stay till the end and watch this through, not just for my algorithm, because I'm going to be shedding some knowledge bombs while we go through. So with that inverted press that Paddy is doing with his wrist tilted slightly in, it just allows you to use a bit more of your palm and improve your strength. So you can actually lift slightly more on there. Ideally, you guys know I always criticize my forming technique. Over here, I was pretty happy with my forming technique with these presses, especially when it started to go heavy. I had to really emphasize on this. So we're going 37.5. Over here, I want to make sure that my form and technique is solid, especially when you have a little bit of an injury and you are kind of in the rehab stage of it. So when I was pressing these times, after I warmed up, I couldn't feel my shoulder at all. Like, it was perfect. So obviously, if I could feel it, I literally would not have proceeded to anything heavier than that. And I'm very careful with the weights. I don't advise anyone to be training on an injury unless you've consulted your physio and that you've got that okay from your physio, your GP. So now here, Kay tried to go for a 20 kilo, which is pretty impressive. Like, it was a big jump from 17.5 to 20 on shoulder presses. You guys know once you go upper body, it starts to get a little bit heavier with the smallest amount of weight. So she had a bit of assistance from Pade here, although like I think it's quite impressive because she would have got a lot of the eccentric part of the movement herself, and Pade would have helped with that bit of wrist support as well too. So one thing that would have helped earlier on would have been our wrist straps, which I only thought about it later on to bring that in when I was helping out Pade with his, because I forgot that I completely brought my KXK Fitness wrist straps. Those are absolutely solid and will support your wrist. So with a bit of support from your wrist, guys, you can lift so much more with the weight. And I was like, look, guys, we got to stop here. We got to stop here. Got to get those wrist straps in. So we actually stopped for a bit, got those wrist straps in, and then we proceeded to continue the movements. And one of the things that we're doing here with the wrist straps as well is when you are going heavier weight. So Paddy was a little bit unsure. You want to wrap him a little bit tighter. The heavier you go, the tighter you want to probably go with your wrist straps. So obviously not restricting too much blood flow. I was just here for a bit of a sport as well too, and just make sure. But when you're sporting as well, you gotta be very careful, guys. No, like when your partner has got to let him have it like that. Once I knew he was confident with it after the first, second rep, which I didn't even help on those. I just let it go. It's one thing to you're just saying how good the wrist straps are. It's one thing to lift the whole way for your partner, but then I know I don't feel okay if someone lifts all the weight for me, especially when they're spotting me as well too. So, it's important that you guys know how to spot your partners. Okay, now I've got 40 kilos over here. In all honesty, I didn't think I was gonna come in here and lift 40 kilos today. That's why I took my time to warm up. Whenever you're unsure, guys, spend time warming up. Now I've got that bit of inverted wrist like Paddy was doing now, because what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to ensure that I'm actually getting as much strength as I can, but I'm also making sure that my forming technique is great at a certain point, that I don't injure my shoulder at any point. So this is very important, guys. As you guys lift, slowly increase the weight. Now Kay is going back to 17 and a half. She wants to push out a few herself, and she is smashing it. So this like already is such a big difference. Look at that. With this weight as well too, she's got her wraps in, and it's interesting how, even though it's another set, usually after someone has kind of like failed on the previous set, it would impact them. And even if she dropped down to 17 and a half, you wouldn't expect her to get it, but she actually got this pretty well. So that was actually really cool. Showing how much support just wrist wraps can make when you guys are shoulder pressing, when you guys are bench pressing. All of this makes a massive difference, guys. So you gotta notice this, and you gotta protect yourself with the right equipment. And I'm gonna put a link in my description as well, guys. If you guys want any fitness equipment, I've got you covered as well with a discount code as well too. So I got you. Now Paddy is going for 32 and a half, so this was a little bit heavier. And as a spotter, I actually noticed that this was a little bit more challenge for him. I still had my hand there to support him as much as I can. I didn't try to take away all the weight from him. Sometimes I'll let him lift a lot of the concentric part, which is the upwards part of the movement, and then I'll make sure his eccentrics is controlled as well too. Moving on, so I went into a little bit heavier than usual, 50 kilos. With a bit of an injured shoulder, that's where I'd have really drawn the line if I wasn't comfortable with this. But I think there was like pretty good comfort here. I was quite confident in the weight, and it was at this point it was 6 to 8 reps. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to push it a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit harder and just give myself that little bit of a challenge as well too, while I do this. And that's very important when it comes to lifting this weight. You got to know your limits as well. So there's no injuries sustained in here. I controlled every single weight. I still was able to go heavy. And if you're very unsure, guys, slow down the weights. That's always very important. All right, so we're moving up to our bench press over here, and this was a very interesting one, a very long one as well too for these ones. So what we did here was 50 reps. So I'm gonna time lapse this a little bit because this might take a little while if I leave all the 50 reps. But generally, what we're trying to do for this 50 reps is making sure we still have control throughout the movement. And so we started off also quite slow because it took us a while to warm up. But to be able to ensure that we get the most out of this, what we are doing now is we're going to be targeting our antagonist muscle, which is basically our back. So one of the cool things about this was we're doing 50 reps. However, we also want to do 50 reps on rows, but that's not sustainable for our back. So what do? We're going to be doing 10 reps, and we're going to have a 5-second break in between, get our rest pause in, and then we're going to be absolutely smashing this. Again, this was a very long set, so I'm going to time lapse it as well so you guys can really go through this and see how quick we did it. I'll make the first few reps normal so you guys can actually get an idea of how we go through this, but the next ones I'm time lapsing it. And it's important to know that during these movements, we get a nice squeeze in our back. Now, when we're going up, we're going very explosive and a nice control down. You might not be able to see this because this is sped up, but we're going explosive up. The reason why you'd go explosive up when you're doing back movements is so you can pull that elbow as far back as possible in order for you to actually contract your back. We've got that nice little 5-second break, and that is a game changer. Okay, so we went from 30 reps, and now we're going up to 20 reps for our next one for our bench press. So obviously increasing the weight as well to give us a little bit more of a challenge. And then our last set is also going to be 10 reps and increasing that weight again. And again, making sure that we are controlled, even in a fast paced mode. You guys can actually see that I am still controlling the weight. That's super important, and we're actually really thinking about our chest to make sure we really squeeze in our chest as much as possible too. All right, and then we're back into back. So now we've got 20 reps in total like we did with chest. However, how we're breaking this down is a little bit different to the way we did with chest. We're going for a heavier weight on back, which means it's going to be harder to pull. So we've dropped the reps into 5 reps instead, and we are doing 4 of those. So we have that 5-second break, 5 reps explosive. And it is important when you are programming to make sure that everything is in the system and it's actually on track in a way that it's actually easy to execute, but you can still get the most out of it. So breaking it down into 5 explosive, we can get our best reps out of it, and that's why we do it. And it's just easier. You can still get good reps out. Explosive. If we go to 10, at this point your low back might start to hurt, your form might start to break a bit. So this is great for us to stay very explosive with those rest pause sets. So I'm sure most of you have heard of rest pause sets. Allows us to be quite explosive with still minimal time to still keep that tension on our muscles. Go quite explosive with this and get the most out of it. Now on to our last set for chest. Whoo! Sheesh, camera got a little bit darker here. I decided I'm going to go quite heavy with this one too. So just testing out my camera. And got a big 50 kilos in there. Woo, this was a bit of a tough one. I wasn't really set up in the camera properly for recording. However, I got those reps done and it was only 10 reps. Look how long it took to do these reps. We had to control it. Doesn't matter how heavy the weight was. It was all about control. And at this point, we could really squeeze our chest and feel that chest work. In fact, the pump was insane. Like, I got a better pump than when I would do the 70 kilo dumbbell. So that was insane. That was very intense, but that's exactly how we like it as well too. All right. This was pretty cool. This was us just getting these setups in. So for this one, it was 10 reps on each side using the same weight. So I'm going up to 50 kilos. So I'm going to do 10 reps on each side, but there was no rest breaks in between. And we do this 4 in total. So 2 each side. So 10 reps, making sure I'm still maintaining form. It was very hard, I'm not going to lie. And I was actually dreading this exercise before, which I was telling the team before. I was like, look, you guys don't actually understand how much single arm rows exhaust you, you know. And yeah, I just had to get it done. And it's just one of those days, you know, I was really unsure today. You know, it's funny actually how a lot of people say they don't have time to go to the gym or they just didn't feel like it, because that is me sometimes every second day. But once I get in there, I know how good it feels and I get into the zone and I work. So it's just a little bit of an encouragement for you guys if you don't feel like training, but you know you enjoy training. Sometimes you just have to get in there. It's like I've got my phone cover, my phone screen at the moment is literally, you know, even the days I don't feel like it, dress up, pick up your stuff and show up. You just need to show up. That's the biggest step. And just, you know, this is my mentality, guys, okay? So if I have a day where I'm like, I don't really feel like it, I've got my programming to do, however. So, you know, my programming isn't enough motivation for me to go, because with my programming, I have numbers to hit sometimes and, you know, have specific exercise to do. And in all honesty, I don't get satisfied until this programming is done. So what I'll do is I'll basically say to myself, I'm just going to go in for a nice light session. And I do this a lot. I'm just going in for a nice light session, just a nice chill one, okay? When I go in there, I start warming up. The best thing about training is when you warm up and you get a nice little pump, even with some high reps, your body just releases those endorphins. You feel good with that pump, and then you just start to push yourself naturally. So it's a little trick for you guys if you're ever struggling and feeling like, look, I don't feel like doing this workout today, but I really want to push myself because I know how good it makes me feel. Okay, so just a little encouragement form. And of course, training is not something that should be forced. Okay, it's a privilege. You gotta enjoy. And I learned that after I tore my bicep. Once I tore my bicep and I couldn't train, I went to the gym, and I'll be jealous of, you know, the skinniest guy there or whatever, but not because they look good or whatever. It's just more because they could train and I couldn't, you know. So from that time onwards, I started to see training as a privilege. And, you know, honestly, most days I look forward to training, but some days I just get exhausted from doing other work, editing videos for you guys on YouTube. It's exhausting. I do all of this myself, guys. Like, I don't rely on people too much for things. You know, you gotta, I do when I need help. Like, I always call out for help if I do need help, but I try to also understand what I'm doing, and so this is just a little bit of an insight to my life, even though we're talking about training. But this is what I like about this series, guys. It's more of a vlog series. I can give any sort of life advice from my experience, and hopefully that can help you. But I want you guys to also drop in the comments below. Like, let me know your suggestions. If you have any advice or anything, anything you've experienced, let us know. We're a team here. Let us discuss these things. So I've kind of dropped off a little bit topic, but just to give you guys a little bit of an insight to what we've been doing so far.
But yeah,
we
so
are basically
we were doing
doing a
some,
tricep, and we've got
biceps on the
20
cable
reps
curl
of
machine,
every single exercise over
dips
here,
and
so
everything.
you can see me do my bicep curls at the
down.
moment.
So
And there's
it's a mix
basically
of
no
all
rest
these
in between.
exercises as well. Look at how they're doing the
nice
flexing
little
those
pose.
triceps. It's a mix of
but
everything.
doing all of this, and it's good fun, and the pump was unreal. Like, I urge you guys to at least try this circuit if you're not gonna try anything else. Your pump, whoo! If you guys are going out or just want to feel good about yourselves, try this circuit. It's amazing. Only 2 sets, very easy to do. Should take you probably under 5-10 minutes to do. Yeah, it's amazing. You get a very good pump. You get good activation of the muscle too, which is very, very important at the same time too. So the circuit runs twice, like I said before. There's no rest breaks in between. You go through all the 3 machines as well. Just try not to hog all the machines. The good thing about this was, especially training in 3, this was perfect because we just could keep moving around from one equipment to the other without feeling like one person hogging all the machines as well too. Now, I just want to say a big thank you, take a moment to say a big thank you to everyone that's been supporting my live stream, that's been supporting my videos. I appreciate you guys as well. I want to know more from you guys as well too. So drop in the comments what you guys think. Let me know more suggestions as well too. If there's any specific exercises or anything that you guys want to see, let me know so I can actually put them in the those demos in the videos as well for you guys as well. So yeah, I'm just going to see Pade. He's doing his he's doing push-ups. So he swapped his tricep dips for push-ups, and K just on the machine, getting a few reps in as well. So just before we close up, I just want to say a big thank you again. You guys are the real MVPs. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep smashing those goals, and your boy is clocking out. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching the trainer.